It started like all suburban sagas, with a quiet morning, a cup of coffee, and the distinct feeling that something was off. My name's Marcus. I live alone in a quiet cul-de-sac called Ridgeway Pines, just outside Savannah. I'd only been here a year, new roof, fresh paint, tiny tomato garden, nothing fancy. Peace was the goal. Then came the water. One morning I stepped outside and noticed the lawn was absolutely soaked, like a monsoon had passed overnight. But the sky had been clear. I walked around, confused, and found my garden hose stretched out across the yard, still dripping. It was warm, freshly used. I live alone. No roommates, no kids, no gardener. Just me and a basil plant clinging to dear life. At first I thought I was losing it. Maybe I'd watered the lawn and forgotten. Maybe the spigot was leaking. Then I opened my water bill. It had doubled. Not gone up, doubled. I wasn't running a swimming pool operation. I barely flushed twice a day. I checked the pipe. No leak, no burst. Just an insane bill and soggy grass. I asked around. That's when I noticed her. Karen. Her name really was Karen. She'd moved in across the street 2 months earlier, and from day one, she treated the neighborhood like her own HOA kingdom. Clipboard in hand, giant sun hat. Always yelling at delivery drivers and issuing friendly reminders about people's porch decorations. She wasn't on the HOA board, but she acted like she owned it. She once reported a neighbor for letting their dog look too long at her tulips. Another time, she got into a screaming match with a 10-year-old on a scooter. We'd all started avoiding her, until the day I saw it with my own eyes. I just pulled into my driveway with groceries when I saw her. In my yard, dragging my hose across my lawn like it was her birthright. She didn't knock, didn't ask. She hooked it up to a portable pressure washer and began blasting her porch like she was detailing a yacht. I sat in the car, stunned. She waved at me.
Hope you don't mind. Yours has better pressure.
I got out slowly and said, "Actually, I do mind." She smiled, tilted her head like I was being cute, and said,
Oh, don't be like that. It's just water. We're neighbors. Sharing is caring.
That night, I installed a hose lock. Simple, clean, decisive. The next morning it was gone. Gone. Someone had used bolt cutters, left the pieces lying there like a threat. Karen was across the street, cheerfully washing her SUV. She waved again.
You really should invest in stronger locks.
It was like a sitcom villain had crawled out of a reality show and moved in across the street. So I installed cameras. 2 at first, one near the spigot, one by the porch. Motion activated. I caught her every morning, sneaking over, watering her plants, filling a kiddie pool, washing her ridiculous dog. Like it was a routine. I posted a clip in our neighborhood Facebook group. Caught in the act. Karen steals water daily. It blew up. People erupted. Some were angry. Others cheered. Dozens shared their own Karen horror stories. One neighbor, Glenn, said she'd once called the HOA because his hammock was too whimsical. Another woman said Karen tried to dictate the height of her garden fence in her backyard. Suddenly, it wasn't just my battle. Everyone had a story, and everyone had had enough. Karen saw the video. The next day, she showed up on my porch not to apologize, but to scream.
You're spying on me. This is harassment.
I replied calmly. You told me to do something about it. I did. That's when she said it. The line that sealed her fate.
Oh, please, do something real. I dare you.
A dare. To me. The guy with plumbing tools, a garage full of time, and an unmatched thirst for poetic justice. That night I made a few calls. A buddy of mine worked maintenance at a nearby construction site. With some cash and a 6-pack of beer, I got access to a temporary industrial sewage tank. Legal? Gray area. Satisfying? Oh yeah. At home, I built a splitter system. One hose pulled clean water. The other led underground to the tank. I disguised the rig, buried the lines, and added a remote switch in my garage. From the outside, just an innocent garden hose. I called it the Karen Trap. The very next morning, she took the bait. Same time as always. Strolled over like she owned the place. Hooked the hose to a fancy rotating sprinkler in her front yard. Then twisted the spigot. What came out wasn't water. It was dark, it was thick, it reeked, and it sprayed in a glorious stinking arc across her white patio furniture, her porch, her sandals. Neighbors screamed. Karen slipped and fell into her rose bushes, shrieking like she'd been hit by a biological weapon. One neighbor filmed the whole thing. Another dropped his coffee in shock. Karen's scream was so loud a dog 3 blocks over started howling. Later that day, she came back to my house, soaked and steaming, accused me of biological assault, threatened lawsuits, swore she'd report me to the HOA and the EPA. I smiled and said, "You dared me, remember?" She didn't laugh. The next week, I got an official letter from the HOA, a fine, for creating a hazardous condition. Karen had filed a complaint backed by 2 witnesses who, funnily enough, turned out to be her cousins who didn't even live in the neighborhood. But I had video, timestamps, screenshots, a printout of Section 4.2b of the HOA bylaws. No homeowner may access another's utilities without express consent. Violators may be fined, investigated, or stripped of HOA privileges. I submitted it all. And I didn't stop there. I shared the footage again, this time edited by another neighbor, complete with dramatic opera music and a slow-mo shot of the sprinkler going nuclear. The internet devoured it. TikTok, Reddit, even a Karen compilation YouTube channel picked it up. Memes started circulating. Someone drew fan art. I wish I were joking. Karen was officially infamous. She vanished. Not literally, unfortunately, but close. She stopped going outside altogether. No more 6 a.m. hose thefts. No more passive-aggressive sidewalk policing. Just silence. For 2 weeks, her curtains stayed drawn like the house itself was ashamed. Her once manicured porch was left coated in dried sludge and wilted flower petals. But I knew that silence wouldn't last. Karen was like a storm that holds its breath before round 2. Then came the final blow. A special HOA meeting. Quiet, invitation. Only. Behind closed doors. Confidential. Off the books. But Glenn, my man Glenn, was ready. He brought his phone, hit record, and kept it in his shirt pocket the whole time. Later that night, I got the audio file titled, "The Karen Tapes." She went off like a firecracker soaked in gasoline, said she was being harassed, claimed I'd engineered a systemic male-driven smear campaign, her exact words, said the video was AI-generated propaganda, and insisted the HOA re-establish proper power dynamics. The board? Not impressed. One woman on the committee audibly laughed. The chair cleared his throat, then called a vote. Karen, $500 fine. Placed on HOA probation. One more violation, and she'd lose voting privileges permanently. As the decision was read aloud, the HOA chair muttered under his breath, barely audible over the recording,
"We should have dealt with her years ago."
3 days later, a moving truck showed up in her driveway. No farewell, no flyers, no goodbye neighbors, just cardboard boxes, angry muttering, and one shattered garden gnome left on the lawn. But just when I thought the saga was finally over, I got an email. Subject line, "New neighbor? Same Karen?" It was from a guy named Devin, different HOA across town. Apparently, she'd moved in a few blocks from him, and within 48 hours, she had already stolen his hose. I sent him everything. The camera setup, the remote valve blueprint, even a PDF I titled Karen Defense Protocol V1.2. His reply, "Time to flush the throne."